I think Brian's back. So, hey, Brian.
Hi, Amber, and I'm sorry about that. And although I'm glad that you got to start with Representative Benham, isn't she incredible?
Yes, she is. No, I fell in love with her back in October when we talked. All right. So, how are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you again. How are you doing?
All right, all right. So when we talked last, I believe it was in October, you were running for re-election as state representative for your 5th term, and you won.
I did.
And at the time, I mentioned to you that I was aware that there were several open political seats happening in Pennsylvania in 22, and you were just very coyly saying, "Oh yes, it's a great opportunity for some people," and all this and all. You knew then that you were going to run for lieutenant governor, didn't you?
Well, I'll tell you, it was certainly something that I was thinking about back in October. Although, as you pointed out at the beginning of this broadcast, Pennsylvania is one of those states like Georgia, like North Carolina, like Texas, that the entire country is watching politically, and that has never been truer than it was in November and December of this last year. And so, the attention that Pennsylvania draws and why it draws that attention also played a big factor in me deciding to announce that I was running for lieutenant governor.
Very good. So you ran for Congress a few years ago.
I did back in 2015, back in 2014, 2015.
So you've run other campaigns other than for your representative job. What are the challenges are you going to have as running for lieutenant governor?
Well, the obvious challenge is running a race that is statewide. Pennsylvania has 67 counties. I represent downtown Philadelphia, but making sure that that voters in all 4 corners of the state, from Erie to Scranton to Pittsburgh to Philadelphia, get an opportunity to hear from me directly. Pennsylvania is one of those states for the better part of 200 years. People have come and knocked on your door and said, "Hey, are you happy with your representation? And maybe I can do better." And so that's a challenge. It's also something that I'm pretty excited about. I get out and about in Pennsylvania a lot, and so I'm looking forward to doing it in this capacity.
So I know in different states the responsibilities of the lieutenant governor are different. What are the main responsibilities of the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania?
Well, and first of all, thank you for asking. A lot of people don't ask, and the truth is, no one is really supposed to know what the lieutenant governor does. In part because it varies wildly, as you'll hear from Giselle Fetterman in a little bit. The primary duties, aside from some oversight of the Senate, are to oversee some commissions that the governor serves on, as well as the lieutenant governor. But one of the great things that we learned especially from this lieutenant governor, from John Fetterman, is that the lieutenant governor's office can be used very successfully as a way to sort of gather the policy data, gather the energy of the electorate around the Commonwealth in a way that it really hadn't been done before. Our governors walk a significantly more moderate line, I'll say, oftentimes than this state really would have it were it not for gerrymandering. And something that we saw from Lieutenant Governor Fetterman was an ability to go to neighborhoods and communities around the Commonwealth and ask them how they felt about a number of what are otherwise progressive issues. And in doing so, was able to bring those issues both back to the governor's mansion, but also reinvigorate the discussion at the legislative level. And that's something that I'm really excited to get to do.
All right. So how do you manage that, being a state representative and running a statewide campaign? That has to stretch you pretty thin there, Brian.
Well, as most candidates will tell you, one of the ways you're able to do this is with experience. I'm going on my 10th my 10th year as a legislator in Pennsylvania. I've run 6 different campaigns, as you pointed out earlier, given the additional one for my congressional race. I have a fantastic staff, a really phenomenal team. I am going to have, perhaps, I hope, the best legislative term of my entire career this year. I have a number, probably 17, 18 bills that have already been introduced in the first few months. I chair a couple of key caucuses within the legislature. And so, the way you do this is the way that I both got myself elected to the job and that I've done the job. It's with a lot of collaboration and a lot of hard work.
All right. So has anyone else announced that they're running for lieutenant governor?
No. And although I've heard rumblings about a number of people in the state that are interested in it and considering it. And, as I tell people, as somebody who represents one of the areas where the rules for modern American representative democracy were written, I'm excited about campaigns. They're not always fun, and they can be pretty grueling. I say that as a Philadelphian. But an opportunity to go statewide and to talk to people about the things that matter the most to me, racial and ethnic justice, LGBTQ civil rights, women's and reproductive rights, education funding, all of those things are really critically important And they are things that, frankly, our state and the citizens of our state handle significantly better than my legislative colleagues in Harrisburg do.
That's fantastic. Now, we got a question from one of our guests from last week and said, love to see you, Governor of Pennsylvania. Please let us know what we can do to help you with that election. How could we do that, Brian?
Well, Amber, thank you for asking that, and thank you to Jason for asking the question. You know, I have a website like all candidates do. It's sims4pa, the number 4pa.com, and there's opportunity there to sign up to receive a lot of the mail, a lot of the stuff that we'll be pushing out for people to sign up. You know, the way that I'm going to be able to do this is to go to all four corners of the Commonwealth. And whether that means, you know, meeting people at coffee shops or in their living rooms, I'm going to need a lot of help doing this. And so my hope is that during these months, while we're still sort of, you know, under the shroud of COVID-19, that we're building that base. And then in the fall, you know, Jason's going to get a phone call from me saying, "Hey, did you really mean it?" And I'm on my way.
Don't tease. Don't tease, Jason. He'll be sitting by his phone. No, you'll have to check last week's show. Jason was one of our guests, and we talked about the adult entertainment industry.
So, he also asked me what I went and made, and I didn't make it. I just poured myself a glass of white wine.
Probably a Pennsylvania wine, I'm sure. That's
of course.
So you said no one has announced. Do you see some opposition coming up, like from the Republican Party?
Well, so one of the unique things about a race like mine is that in Pennsylvania, the lieutenant governor runs separately in a primary than the gubernatorial candidates. And then the winning lieutenant governor candidate and gubernatorial candidate for each party run together on a ticket. And so for now, you know, what Republicans are doing and why they're doing it, while it doesn't baffle me, it's certainly not something that I'm going to pay attention to prematurely. And so that, you know, that's something they're going to kind of do separately. My job is to make sure that Democrats in Pennsylvania know and understand who I am and what I believe in and sort of what I've done with those beliefs.
So who's running for governor in Pennsylvania right now?
Well, you know, I don't think that there is a declared candidate yet for governor. There are a lot of people that could run for governor. I look at the potential field, and I'm not going to do that thing where I name them all because that's not fair to any of them. But I will tell you that Pennsylvania does not hurt for really quality Democratic leadership at the statewide level.
That's exciting.